So, Flock, look, I get it. I fully understand that Aaron Rodgers is a polarizing figure and certainly not for everyone. But when he speaks on Lamar Jackson, you better believe I'm going to listen. And we're going to get into what he had to say specifically about MVP candidacy in just a second. Glad you're here. Welcome inside the channel. As always, I'm Bobby Trosset. This is where I bring you Baltimore sports and beyond. And it is brought to you by Primary Residential Mortgage. Before I share Aaron's comments with you, let's just take a look at the numbers. This is a two-man race right now. With all due respect to Saquon Barkley, with all due respect to Jared Goff, this is a two-man race, and I'm of the belief that it's actually Josh's award to lose at the completion of 15 weeks. In no way do I feel like Lamar is out of it. He's got a couple signature moment opportunities upcoming that I will get into in just a second. But statistically speaking, obviously Lamar is in the driver's seat, and he has been throughout the course of this season. He's got Josh beat in total yards. They both have 37 total touchdowns. Lamar has thrown 2 fewer interceptions with 3 to Josh's 5. Lamar's completion percentage, several percentage points better than Josh's so far entering week 16, 68-1 to be exact. Josh, 64-4. In terms of passer rating, Lamar's is historic, an average passer rating of 120.7. The next slide, I'll get into why that's historic, literally across the history of this league. Josh, 103.5. And of course, the record and the rushing touchdowns right now, the only two statistical categories that Josh has on Lamar. Now, there's still more to be said on this, and the Ravens aren't done yet, and they can still absolutely find a path to win the AFC North. But Buffalo has a chance to win the overall seed, and of course, the bye as well. They're going neck and neck with the Kansas City Chiefs for that honor, currently sitting at 11-3 to Baltimore's 9-5. And those 5 losses loom large. Make no mistake about it, in the eyes and in the minds of NFL MVP voters. But again, the signature moments and what have you done for me lately, of course, those loom large as well. And when you take a look at the remaining 3 weeks for both of these players, Lamar gets to go up against his bitter rival in the Pittsburgh Steelers. He gets to play on a standalone opportunity game against Houston on Christmas Day. And it's rounded out by the Cleveland Browns in the regular season finale. As for Josh Allen, it's 2 against the Patriots and 1 against the Jets, both of which are, of course, in division AFC East opponents for Buffalo. But those 2 teams are completely irrelevant when it comes to the postseason picture, whereas 2 of the final 3 for the Ravens are squarely involved in the postseason picture. That matters. And so while I think this is Josh's award through 15 weeks, this award is ultimately won and lost through 18 weeks, 17 games, 18 weeks. I mentioned the passer rating. I don't think this is being discussed enough, honestly. Lamar Jackson, you're looking at right now the best single season passer rating averages in the history of this league. Aaron Rodgers in 2011 and Aaron Rodgers in 2020 are the first and second, respectively. Peyton Manning in 2004 with Indy is third. And look at where Lamar is. Again, he's got 3 more weeks. But this is historic, and I'm not seeing it being talked about enough. 120.7. Lamar's been exceptional. And can you believe it that he's on pace to eclipse both of his MVP seasons, statistically speaking? Now, what's funny about it is that he won't end up, barring something unforeseen, he won't end up as the top overall seed like he was his first 2 MVP seasons. But honestly, who cares? They're coming in healthier than they were in those 2 years. And I think that's going to pay major dividends. I like the late bye week. When it first came out and I saw that it was a week 14 bye, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But honestly, looking at it now, I think it's setting up very well for the Ravens. What always seems to set up well is when Aaron Rodgers talks about Lamar Jackson, and he did exactly that on the Pat McAfee show earlier today. It started about MVP candidacy, and you'll find in this clip that he's a big favorite. and he's a big fan of Josh Allen's. But he also said, hey, let's not declare this thing over just yet, as many have on the national level. Here's A-Rod.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, there's always like kind of one game that stands out in voters' minds where they're like, oh, this is this. And a lot of times it's one specific play in general that you're like, okay, this is why this guy's getting MVP. A lot of people the other week thought that it was maybe the Josh Allen in the snow lateral from, was that Cooper who lateraled to him?
Yep.
Did the Superman score a touchdown? I've been saying it for a while. Like, number one, I love Josh. I think he's a fantastic dude, and love anytime I get to spend time with him. He's hilarious. He's having a big year. Just got engaged. He's had a phenomenal season. They're obviously in the playoffs, going to host a playoff game, compete for the 1 seed on top of the world. And I think this should be, could be, another chance for him to add a little hardware to the mantle. That being said, as someone who's won MVP back-to-back years knows how hard that is, can we just not gloss over what Lamar's doing?
Amen.
I mean, can we not? Like, he has, I think, 34 touchdown passes, I believe.
Yep.
And just, 3 INTs, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's, he's flirting with the all-time single-season passer rating record. This is from a guy who's just a runner, right? He could just run. That's all he can do, right? Just run. I love watching Lamar play, and love to see his continual growth and how he changes the game. I mean, obviously he's so dynamic, but he's really become such an elite passer of the football.
Almost to his detriment, Aaron, is what his mom's saying. His mom said, like, you're too good of a passer now. You're trying to let
this play is so ridiculous right here.
So stupid.
He's running so fast, but it's almost like he's in slow motion, and he's just everybody's trying to catch him. It's just ridiculous.
And he's pulling up his pants in the middle of it. I mean, it's like
that was the giant scramble. Of course, I can't play it for copyright purposes, but just so you're aware,
he's special, but it does feel like
Josh. But let's not just gloss over this. He's having a ridiculous year. A lot of times, it comes down to record, right, wrong, or indifferent. I think that although the MVP has become kind of a quarterback award,
not kind of,
can we just acknowledge what Saquon has done? I mean, just an incredible year. I think it should come down to those three. I'd love to see Josh win it just because of the friendship that we have, and I think he deserves it. But would not be surprised to see Saquon or Lamar get his third, because those guys have had fantastic years. I just think it's harder for a running back because it's a quarterback-driven league, and if he goes nuts the last 3 weeks and has like a signature game where he rushes for something astronomical like 250 or something,
so many woohoos,
which would be wild. He could get it, but I think unless there's a crazy game like that from one of those three, and I say that knowing that Lamar just had like 4 incompletions and 5 touchdowns,
crazy.
So, but then Josh has had like some crazy stat about
10 tuds,
60 yards rushing, 3 something passing, and multiple passing, and some crazy number I saw. So unless there's some wild performance from one of those guys where it's just so crazy, it goes viral. I think Josh should maybe be the favorite, and then Lamar and Quads are kind of second right now.
Quads is going bananas over there for Philadelphia. What a perfect fit that has seemingly been for them, and what a year it's been fun to watch. Every week he does something absurd. Lamar Jackson, obviously special.
Oh, like the quads. Let's talk about quads. Didn't they put the backwards leap over a guy play? Like he has that play. Josh has the lateral play. Lamar has to play like that almost every game. So, like, they all have the signature moments they need to win MVP. So any of those 3 guys would be really deserving this year for sure.
Aaron Rodgers, courtesy of the McAfee show earlier today, as I tape this on Tuesday the 17th. I'll react to that in just a bit, because obviously he pumped the brakes a little bit on the national conversation, which has certainly all but handed the trophy over to Josh Allen. Again, that's not to say he isn't the favorite. He's certainly the betting favorite through 15 weeks. But when you look around nationally and you see the Dan Orlovskis of the world saying that the race is over, well, that's a little bit disingenuous. And I love Dan. ultimately it's a 17-week, 18-game season as I continue, of course I'm going to botch that, a 17-game, 18-week season, and it's not decided after 15 weeks. There is still more time for Lamar, and we're going to discuss that in just a bit. But first, today is brought to you, and this specific show is brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage, and the holiday season is officially here. You might be looking for a way to access extra cash for gifts and celebrations. If that's the case, I got a solution for you. It's Primary Residential Mortgage's cash out refinance, which lets you tap into your home's equity to access the funds you need for your holiday shopping and festivities. And on top of that, and I just learned the other day that a Bobby Baltimore subscriber cashed in on this incentive, and I hope you will as well if you're in the home buying process. PRMI for Bobby Baltimore subscribers only is going to cover your closing costs up to $750. These are on applications submitted by February 9th of 2025. So just keep that in mind as the calendar starts to turn here. You only got a couple months to cash in on this, but I literally just heard from somebody today when I got a call from the loan officer that I work with at Primary, which is based out of Towson. You don't need to be in the Maryland area, by the way, to qualify. So again, it's a great incentive that they're running for you. You can learn more by visiting the show notes and take advantage of this special offer. You can apply through the PRMI Mid-Atlantic website, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. Again, at the top of the show notes is a specific link that'll bring you to this landing page, which is my specific landing page. You can contact them easily by filling out this form right here on the right-hand side of the screen and apply now. Just click that yellow button. It'll bring you over to the application. Super simple. They got a great team based out of Towson. Again, you do not need to be in the Maryland area to qualify. Reach out to PRMI today and make this holiday season even brighter. I want to shout out Michael, Zach, Nas, Devin, George, the entire team over there in the Towson location for continuing to take great care of me, believing in what I'm building. It's really, really appreciated, and I hope you guys will support them if you are in the market to do so, because they support me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate them. So you heard from Aaron Rodgers there. Quote, can we just not gloss over what Lamar's doing? Can we not? I love watching Lamar play and love to see his continual growth and how he changes the game. He's really become an elite passer of the football. That's coming from Aaron Rodgers, one of the most elite of all time when it comes to passing the football. Now, clearly he's got a friendship with Josh, and he doesn't hide from that. He doesn't shy away from it at all. I'm pretty sure they're golfing buddies. And so while, again, I'm of the belief that for factors outside of the statistical game, Josh is the favorite. He's the betting favorite, and he is the favorite universally for the most part through 15 weeks of football. But as RG3 so eloquently said on the Kay Adams show earlier this week, it's just through 15 weeks. There's more game to be played.
Not the MVP of a 4-game stretch. It's not the MVP of a 6-game stretch. It's not the MVP at the beginning. It's not just the MVP at the end. So last week, Saquon Barkley was number one in the MVP race. A couple weeks before that, it was Lamar Jackson, and nobody questioned it. So how you finish matters. And Kay, we have the blessing of watching Lamar Jackson play against a playoff team in the Houston Texans on national TV in almost 200 countries, and how you finish matters. The Bills have 3 games left, and so do the Ravens. Well, the Bills are going to play teams that have a combined record of 7-21 that are not making the playoffs. Lamar and the Ravens are going to play 2 teams that have a combined record of 19-9, and the Steelers and the Texans. And to me, if Lamar goes on Christmas Day and has the game he had against the New York Giants, I believe he wins the MVP in that situation, because it's on prime time galactical TV. Okay, everybody is going to be watching this, and I can't say enough about the season that Lamar's had. If you put them side by side for the season, Lamar beats Josh Allen in every statistical category except for rushing touchdowns.
And we looked at that a little bit earlier on in this show. And so let's just take a look at what's coming up first before we skip ahead to Houston. Lamar's got to get past a team that he has really struggled against throughout his career. It's only a 5-game sample size, but Lamar is, to be honest, unrecognizable against 2 teams across this league throughout his career. That's Pittsburgh, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. The Steelers obviously see him more often, and they have owned a 4-1 record in their head-to-head matchups against Lamar since he entered the league in 2018. That is tied for his worst across the league. Points per game, also the worst, just 19. I mean, look at the statistical categories here, a graphic courtesy of Good Morning Football. He is his worst against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that is, of course, Baltimore's bitter rival. But again, it's not a rivalry when one opponent has won 8 of the last 9, and that's what the Steelers have going into this Week 16 matchup in Baltimore. Worst passer rating average, worst total touchdown to giveaways ratio, the worst passing touchdowns to interceptions ratio, worst points per game on average, like I mentioned, and of course, the worst record in head-to-head. And this is a guy who wins a lot. You have to tip your cap, in a sense, to Mike Tomlin and company, but you also have to acknowledge what's reality. And that is Lamar and his offensive unit has not been consistent, has not been fully functioning, and nowhere close to elite when facing off against Pittsburgh. Now, with that said, I mentioned the sample size, right? 5 games, he's been around for, this is his 7th NFL season, and he's only played 5 games against the Steelers. Here's part of why. In 2018, he didn't start. In 2019, remember, both in 2019 and 2023, you had certain circumstances involved here, which were first-round buys, which were regular season finales that didn't matter in terms of the postseason picture. So Lamar sat. In the regular season finales, they played Pittsburgh, both in 2019 and 2023. Others was due to injury. Others were due to COVID. But the reality is Saturday marks just the second time that Lamar has played a home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as Kyle noted on X here, it's been 4 years since he's played inside the bank against Pittsburgh. So that should be acknowledged. Right? What should also be acknowledged is this signature moment, 2 opportunities that Lamar has in front of him, where he has a chance to turn this national conversation around. And again, this is just about MVP. Clearly, he has bigger aspirations. We know that. But as I mentioned earlier on in the show, Josh plays the Jets once and the Patriots twice. 2 teams that are going nowhere fast and are not in the AFC playoff picture. That is his next 3 weeks. Lamar goes at Pittsburgh, a Fox game in the 4:30 window. He then goes standalone on Christmas Day a few days later in Houston against the Texans, a playoff team. Right now, if the postseason were to begin, it'd be a 4 versus 5 seed matchup for the Ravens on the road in Houston. So you get an opportunity to see them again. And one of the young, great quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, who's been up and down this year. And then, of course, the regular season finale in division against Cleveland. They're moving to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They've benched Jameis Winston. Deshaun Watson is injured. They're literally disastrous, are the Browns. So over the next 2 weeks, this award will be won and lost. And to me, when you think back to Christmas Day, Christmas night last year, that's when Lamar secured it. In a lot of voters' minds, his performance in dominating fashion against the 49ers sealed the deal. Could that be yet again an opportunity on Christmas to go back-to-back? Not only great opportunities if you win out to win the AFC North and snatch it from the Steelers, but also snatch that back-to-back MVP and a coveted 3rd MVP. As far as Josh is concerned, while the statistics are south of Lamar, he's got the better record, and what he's doing without Stephon Diggs, without Gabe Davis, several defensive pieces, including Micah Hyde, Matt Milano due to injury, there's a lot to like about what the Bills have become in what was supposed to be a rebuild year. So yes, both of these players are exceptional. Both of these players are bona fide perennial MVP candidates. I think Josh is in the driver's seat right now. It is his to lose. But Lamar's got everything to do with the fact that that could be lost, because he's got some signature moment opportunities upcoming, and it's going to be a blast to watch this unfold. Appreciate you guys for hanging out as always. If you haven't already done so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when I'm dropping my daily content for you. Join the Bobby Baltimore Discord server. It's a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. You can do so by visiting the show notes. Follow me across all social media platforms at Bobby Baltimore. That includes Instagram. And I would love for you to support my sponsor who supports me, and that's Primary Residential Mortgage. I'll talk to you guys soon.